The truth is controversial. You see, I'm not supposed to be right. I am not supposed to be right. I don't want to be right. In fact, I want to be very wrong in the fact that many things are going to happen to this world. And we see so by observation. I'm not the only one that thinks the way that I do. And I don't want to be the one of ego in any sense of any direction. See, but controversy is dreaded by the advocates of error, meaning those who do wrong intentionally, who do wrong, do not want controversy about, because it questions their very existence. You see, I believe controversy basically means face-to-face with change. So if you think something is controversial, then you can't face change. And that's the truth of the matter, is that truth is controversial because the world is always changing. And see, I want to give a lot of tips and advice to many people, especially people among my generation or my age, because, to be honest, you can learn a lot from simple people of the past and ancestors. It doesn't take a whole lot to reach the observations that I reach. I'm honest with that. It's not my own conjecture, or it's not stolen from other people, but for sure it's influenced, because that's what we're supposed to do, ancestor to ancestor, is pass along those messages that are true and do hold their time, hence being why your ancestors held their own time and you came thereafter, and you should be sort of a representation of them into a new time, because you're taking on their genes. So you are a survivor, being here as you are in your very presence, which a lot of people could use that very presence, just being around. Right? Do you really see the importance of having a fellow human being nearby? I can get all positive and say, well, people are beautiful and they have so much potential, especially when they realize it. But then I look at the other side and I say, well, humans can be very destructive, more destructive than any other animal on the planet, being due to their consciousness. Okay, and that's their ability to see and understand and reason, and yet people still have arguments. You have to question these factors, because if you want to understand the world, it's about understanding these simple little things and then connecting the dots. So, again, I'm not trying to say I know everything, because that's the very problem of the world, is it's an ego, left brain dominant centric zone. And that's what's leading everybody else to either left brain or right brain imbalances, of either following orders or saying, oh, well, that's not true, and oh, well, this is what's right, and I'm so stuck in my ways. Okay? That's left and right brain imbalances. I don't see a center in most of people. Why? Because most of their life is out of balance anyways. Take a look at their health. If it's imbalanced, then of course their perception perhaps would be imbalanced, being that their mental health is of utmost importance, more important than food perhaps, right? And their mental health often correlates very closely to their social or family life. So therefore, again, another correlation there that is more important than food. And I talked about before, I have a video that says food doesn't matter because the New World Order is to own your health. Hence the NWO, which reversal is OWN. Well, yeah, because that's the objective when you are a domineering person. When you have it in the sense that you believe you have the natural right to rule over somebody, and that somebody is giving you that power, which they are, and therefore then it also makes it right. But just because somebody's giving you that power does not make it right. See, there is objective truth in the universe that can be backed by law, natural law. And people don't understand what this means because they don't teach any of this in schools. See, if I mention someone like George Carlin, which is somebody who you should look into if you are somebody who's getting into the truth movement. Okay, he has a great memory. And I see a lot of people in the truth movement also having a like memory to that, because we get passionate and we see and we connect the dots and we speak for ourselves. I don't mean to say we to seclude us, but I know that these people are human. And yes, they're controversial because guess what? They're human. And even if they have some flaws like we all do, guess what? It just makes us more human. It's just a beautiful thing to see when you see the wrong, the natural wrong. But it's a horrible thing to see when we see the wrong that's intentional, that's used for a greater agenda. May you call it out of the world forces upon us. But it certainly is a force that is not a natural force, and is actually a force which is actually called violence. They justify their means through violence, not only animal slaughter, but us justifying that animal slaughter is good, so they can continue doing it, just like how obeying authority is. Okay, is we justify them being in power, so we're giving them power. You want to blame, Hitler or this person? No, you got to also blame us. Ourselves, the followers, the ones that gave them power in the first place. There's millions of us, and there's not nearly as many of them. Yet they rule over us, and we feel like that is necessary. Okay, you have to ask yourself this question. There's a very interesting correlation that I found thinking upon it. There's so many reasons people will use to eat meat. And I'm not saying that eating meat is bad. Okay, I'm not a vegan, okay, but what I'm saying is the justifications to eat a lot of meat, or just not caring about what they're eating, frankly, which is what it is, among all matter, processed food, whatever. Those are all forms of evil, right? Is just the unconscious intake of not only information, but food, but people. Right? Like bringing people. Would you bring someone into your life who you don't know? A stranger? If you wouldn't let a stranger in the house, what makes you think you should eat a food that you have no clue what it is? Okay, same thing with the government. You don't know these people. So we can make these analogies all day long. And guess what? All the poetry comes from nature anyways. All of it. Because it's true. Nature has the truth. And nature is the answer. And I've been portraying my movement that I've been creating more recently and trying to bring it to the crowd, because I'm not afraid to use my voice and reason with other people, because people have that ability to reason and we can use it. See, schools don't want to show George Carlin because, profanity, he curses. But guess what? Again, human qualities. Are we training robots or are we training humans? Are we promoting natural traits or are we promoting artificial, manipulated, controlled traits? Because everything I see in school from my own past, which wasn't so long ago, but FYI, and people that I see, whether it's cyber school, public school, doesn't matter, they're being controlled and they're trained to be controlled. And then if you say cyber school, you have more independence, yeah, you can say that in some context. But the technology is then in control of them more. And you know how technology can actually be more dangerous than teachers, more dangerous than textbooks. Technology can be the danger or the superhero. I mean, again, looking at the extremes of things, if you are the biggest, most powerful nation on the earth, you can either do the greatest things or you could do the worst things. Okay, that's the extreme to the situation. Now, when I was talking about meat eating, people will justify their ways of eating meat all the time, okay? They will go to every extreme to say that they should eat meat. And the truth of the matter is they just enjoy it. And they'll just use other excuses in order to continue eating meat. But if you're truthful with me, you'll just say, well, meat is good. And that I just can't stay away from it. It's addicting. Because hey, let's face it, your ancestors, if they went their whole life looking for meat, and it was a prize, it was survival, it was a treasure, it was an occasion, it was a celebration, and now it's like, oh, let's do that every day, especially since we're in stressful times where technology and all these other stressful aspects are pressing down on us as weights that forbid us to move on into action with our abilities to create change as we are creators of our own from consciousness. Do you see the dots that I just connected just there? We can connect dots pretty much everywhere, and people are suppressing that ability. These people, again, they're not just the elites, they are us as well. We are the ones that are initiating the evil in this world because we let it run amok. We see it crossing boundaries and we let it happen. We let Amazon Alexa into our house. We let processed foods into our body. We let bad people influence us. And we are open to that, but yet we aren't open to love. We aren't open to truth. See, it's not like you have to seek this and go on some long rant about what is the truth. But rather, you just need to let it in and open the gate. Your gateway to health. To nature is the answer. Okay, and I say that because my business in Pennsylvania is a health coach, quote unquote health coach. It's called Gateway to Health. To be the exact opposite of Gateway to Hell. Because you're promoting life instead of evil. So you're going to go to life. You're going to bring up more life. There will be memories after your time. Yes, you will be that ancestor that carries on the message. What message is that? Ultimately, I see it as nature's the answer when we are in a technocratic, controlled state. Okay? Now, there's a lot of justifications for murder and theft, which a lot of it is, and compromising on your property, which is your life, which is your belongings is physical matter, but you worked your life for that. It's the fruits of your labor, it's like your fruits, like these fruits are supposed to be consumed, and all of a sudden the government takes it away and says, no, you can't do that, you must eat an animal product. But no, I'm just saying. But let's be honest, right? They would say, okay, let's take this plant, let's take it off the tree and let's transform it, let's genetically modify it, let's turn it into something evil. Because that's what they do. They're eugenicists, social Darwinism, control freaks, psychopaths. And again, people don't want to be open to this idea that even though George Carlin has been warning people, even though Alex Jones, which I consider is the new George Carlin, because he's funny too and he's off the rails. Okay, it doesn't matter. You don't have to agree with him, but a lot of what he says is true, and you cannot deny that. You cannot deny that. Okay, so you can't dismiss him for one thing when a whole bunch of other truths are being put out there. When he's waking up a whole bunch of other people. Okay? He of course, like I said, influenced me, but I will say that I woke up myself. In my own credit of regards, I did my own observational research. Research that didn't require online necessarily. But online did help. Because again, I said technology could be the biggest hero too. Having access to knowledge and information. Well, it's not knowledge, but it's information that could be helpful for understanding a little bit more of why people react the way they do. Not necessarily knowing what is the answer to this. Like, Google, tell me the answer to this. Like, no, not necessarily that. But rather understanding why people act the way they do online. Why these articles are being posted in the first place. What's going on in their minds when they write an article. You gotta think deeper. And then you also have to look outside. So it's like zooming in on a picture, and it's also like zooming all the way out. And if I were to look at a painting, I would do the same thing, right? If you're in a video game, right? And not in a video game. Well, that's a different story. Virtual reality, right? People want a crystal clear game, a video game that they play. They could see it's crystal clear. It's something that looks realistic. Okay, so when they go up close, it looks like, wow, this looks so realistic. When they go from afar, it says, wow, that looks like it's part of my reality. Virtual reality does it all for you. Because it's literally creating your reality. And people have talked about these individual subjects because of how much you can connect the dots in simply one thing. That's what the beauty of writing and poetry is, which has been gone when it comes to talking about technology. You don't see many writers of the past talking about technology. We need more writers now talking about that. And we do, fortunately, in the truth community. But you know what? They'll be attacked because of the technology. They'll be attacked because of the social media. And that'll put down their rep. And because of how much control there is over information and quotes now, you can celebrate someone of the past, but now you can't make any more future heroes and future visionaries because they won't let you. They won't put it on the front page. But guess what? The millions of people, they can still decide the fate. You know, when these people are past their time, people will live up their time. They will take on the legend that is, coming to rebirth. If there was any wrongdoings in history or wrong interpretations of history, it's all just going to come back and hit us. It's all just going to come back and hit us. That is karma. That is natural law. That is in nature. And you want to tell me that nature's not the answer? Well, it is, because of all these reasons. It's not just natural medicine, it's natural law. It's not just natural law and natural medicine, it's being simple and living as intended, being controversial, having fun, cursing out. Do I want to say breaking the law? But they watch everything you do. Okay? Does anarchy mean chaos because I'm saying, you can do whatever you want? Yeah, you can do whatever you want. That's your choice, but it doesn't mean it's right. Okay, there's, again, the distinction between right and wrong. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. And I'm not saying that it's made up. I'm saying it's an objective thing. And when we clearly show it as an objective thing, then yes, we can live in an anarchy, which basically means no rulers. Okay? So it doesn't even matter what you believe in when it comes to government. If you're in a truth movement, you understand this. You understand that our rulers can be compromised. You understand that there has to be truth to be fulfilled in this world. So I ask you to join me on my mission for humanity. When I go into the future, I'm only 19 now. And I will go marching forward with no fear in bringing this message to many people. That nature is the answer. And that we can unite around principles of truth, of simplicity. Okay, not necessarily this ism, that ism, left, right. I don't care. You have those boundaries in your head. Great. Good for you. And you know what? That's fine. We can probably abide to a lot of that. Religion, we can abide to a lot of that too. There's some flaws when we perceive religion. Just like how we perceive words. Okay? But looking at these things at a fundamental level, and then again zooming in on the pixels, wow, that's so clear, and then zooming out and saying, wow, that's part of our reality, especially since these screens keep getting bigger on technology, right? What a coincidence. What a coincidence. Our screens are getting bigger because that's the reality that we're forming. It's coming all around us. Technology all around us. Bigger screens, bigger artificial reality. Don't you understand? Everything is reflective. Everything is reflective. And may you say that's the principle of polarity or correspondence in natural law? Yeah, of course. Of course. That has a big deal to do with it. And I'm just here asking you all the time, expand your mind, not necessarily to agree with me. The whole point of this podcast ultimately is to say that controversy is natural, and it's good. It's necessary, otherwise we wouldn't innovate. Challenge is necessary to innovate. Question is thinking. And dreaming helps us learn, and learning is thinking, is questioning, is innovating. So that's all connected. And no wonder why the schools are training people to be brain dead. Because they're not connecting these dots for people that's what innovation is. Now, how do I prove that I know this of my own life? Guess what? I'm writing a book. I've made music. I have no fear of going out there, creating content, figuring out how, creating conversations, talking to people, finding my own passion, which a lot of people don't have, creating writings, singing, dancing, and creating new dance moves that have never been out before. You may call that crazy, but guess what? It's expression. And can people even express if they're robots? Heck no, they can't express if they're robots. They're going to follow the crowd, and they're going to keep doing what has been pushed onto them because that's what the school system has taught them to do. So, am I sick of it? Am I angry? Yes, I'm angry. Yes, I'm sick of it. But I'm also happy because I know this world has this system in place that will kick us in the butt when we do something wrong. The only problem with that is the consequences. Is people dying or people having complications because of the truth. Okay, I don't want to see people being hurt from the truth, but that is what will happen when people don't abide to the truth, or when people don't see the truth, when they don't accept the truth. Okay, that is the problem. Again, I'm not asking for you to agree with me. I'm not asking to be right. I don't want to be right. We shouldn't want to be right. We should want to find the truth. We should want to do right in our own personal lives, not to rule over others, not have these insatiable greeds for left and right brain dominance. That literally is actually a lack of self-control too. You think they want to control you, it's because they lack their own self-control. They lack their own self-security, so they find it in you. Okay, and again, am I influenced by other people? Everyone's influenced by everything that's always around them. I mean, that's why it's so hard to think objectively, especially in a world of mass information. Wake up, it's all around us. The truth is right here, it's right under our noses. I'm making these simple observations right out of the spark of memory. And that's the beauty of human consciousness, the ability to think and cognitively create. Okay, and maybe, just maybe if you eat different foods that help your brain think, you would have that ability too. I found that for myself. I'm just sharing a personal experience. Guess what? All this, my own thoughts. So say what you want. Oh, I'm pushing this onto you and I think I know everything. Guess what? I don't. And I fully acclaim to not knowing everything. Because I don't. And nobody can. But guess what? I'll try, because why not? But I'm not going to claim that I do and that I should be pushed onto others. Why not try to do your best? Why not try to find the answers? Instead of go with the crowd, instead of, having to be in your safe space of, I don't want to get triggered or anything. Guess what, folks? Life isn't easy. Life is hard. Reality is a kick in the face. It is not easy to accept either. Have you ever heard that expression? Because that's what the expression is. And don't believe history either as your only way of telling the truth. But we can say, based on the past, because everything just goes past immediately, that's what can help us find the truth as well. So, don't correlate necessarily history with past. But yeah, of course we can learn from history. Yeah, of course we can learn from everything, whether it's bad or good. Don't shut it out. Don't shut it out. Everything's there for a reason. And so you can learn from everything. And that's the problem with the school system, is saying focus here, focus there, don't look at that, that's bad, that's good, telling you what to think instead of how to think. Telling you what is created instead of how to create. You are born to create. And the biggest thing that I want people to do, I should call myself a creative health coach because nobody's focusing on creativity, but that is where people should be looking when it comes to their health, is creativity. If I see that's the most lacking within my clients, which I do, that's alarming to me. Because we are born to create. We come from a creator, and we are creators ourselves, which is why we are so dangerous to the format of the creator, because we are able to imitate nature, for example. Now, that creator, of course, interpret it how you wish. I'm going to call it nature, for the sake of universal unity. I mean, what's wrong with that? If you abide to nature, you abide to whatever creator, to whatever God. Okay, and I suggest you check out my video on why nature's the answer, why join this movement. This is not some cult or whatever you want to call it, okay? This is me wanting to get out there and get your voice out there, because we're all in this together, literally. And the fact that I shouldn't be the one on the public stage. As simple as that. All these other people ask you, oh, join me, my message, it's about you. But yet, they're the one on stage. They're the one propagating everything. Guess what? I will literally just want you. I will literally just stand up for you and your ability, the simple ability to think. Not telling you what to think, but the simple ability to think. So they'll ask me, well, what are your thoughts on this? What is your thoughts on abortion? Like, yeah, personally, I'm pro-life 100% because I know it to be fundamentally true. Am I going to push it onto others? No, but I'm going to give recommendations like I do as a health coach. I'm not going to push a diet onto someone, but I'm going to understand all the diets. I'm going to give recommendations based on the individual, which government can never do because it's a collectivist mindset in its very nature. So I'm going to give recommendations to society, but I will not force anything upon society, which, again, governments do through violence. So it cannot be more overstated, but if you are joining my movement, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I do. My whole heart, actually. Because we're going to change the world and the way it thinks. And simply by changing the way the world thinks, we will innovate naturally without having to do a thing, but think differently. For that's what Trump helped did a little bit, was help change the mindsets of many people, which is why it inspired so many young people and new voters and caused a landslide of different people to go to the voting booths. I'm not asking you to vote. I'm asking you to support an idea. I'm not asking you to vote for anything. I'm not going to office or anything like that. It's a movement. A movement. There's no one leading the movement. We all lead this movement. But the movement is fundamentally rooted in the message. And the message is the mission, which is to be held through generations. And that is that nature is the answer to the techno-tyranny, to the overloading technology, to the dependence, to the denaturing of our innate selves that have become desensitized due to pornography and all this other stuff. Not good. Not good. So it's worth mentioning all the stuff that we have in our world. Thank you very much for listening. This is Cory Endrulat. Nature is the answer. I hope you can agree. Please watch my video on this and fly the flag. Show your support. And it's meant to spark a question, meant to spark debate. The media will be forced to report on it. They'll be like, what in the world is this? And of course, people will make their own claims of it, and it may devalue it, but guess what? It's going to get people thinking. And if I'm the one that started it, and I have true intentions behind my works and creative works, I will stand by the truth of the matter. And hopefully people will stand by that truth because I helped bring it to them as well. So again, this isn't an egotistic matter, but I will try to help represent truth, not represent myself or my own ideas. And representing truth is a hard thing to do, and it will require accountability to myself. So that way I don't become denatured. Okay, this is necessary, especially since a health coach is to be an accountable figure for anybody who's achieving their health goals. Same thing applies. Same thing applies. You'll learn more about this in my books and my other works too, so stay tuned for that. Thank you very much. Subscribe, like, share this video to awaken your friends. Thank you very much. Create.